What's going on, you guys? It's me, AnarchYxNinja, and today we're on Battlefront for the first time in probably like a couple weeks. It's been a while since I played this game, so don't expect much. And also, disclaimer, my noise cancellation for whatever reason is not on right now, and there's like a party going outside, and you know Filipinos love screaming and singing, so they're doing that. So if you hear all that in the background, I apologize, but the reason I didn't turn off the computer to restart it and all that to get it set up is because we found a game. You know how rare that is? Bro, that's fucking rare. I couldn't find Galactic Assault, but Supremacy will have to do. Anyway, it's close to Battlefield. Run around, shoot bots all day, and feel good about yourself, so hopefully we'll be alright. We did get in late, obviously, but again, if it was this or Heroes versus Villains, I'll take this every day of the week over that game mode, so here we are. My sensitivity feels so much faster here.
We're close to dominating this sector. Don't let up
Anyway,
now.
what's going on in the Star Wars world? Nothing much. You know, actually, we talked about it on stream, but I know most of y'all don't watch because it's not Star Wars, but I had zero excitement for, God, I don't even remember the name of the game, but the pod racing game that's coming out, right? I played one of the pod racing games on the N64 when I was a kid, skipped school to play it, blah, blah, blah. But just in general, I'm not really excited for pod racing. I'm not a big racer guy. The only racing games I ever played and actually enjoyed were Burnout. Now, some of you might already catch on with what I'm about to say. Some of you are like, oh, that's an interesting racing game. Well, if you haven't played it, it's an awesome racing game. Burnout 3 Takedown, legendary, Revenge, awesome. Both of them, good choices. Some of the other ones, eh. Anyway, I was bored one night, and the trailer for this pod racing game came up, and again, I'll watch it. Why not? You know, let's see what they're doing. And as I'm watching some of the gameplay in that trailer, I'm like, that looks eerily similar to Burnout. Mainly when you take down another dude. That's what they call it. You crash and make him, you know, you ram him and he crashes and, you know, they die. And I'm like, that looks so similar to Burnout. I had a brain fart. I lost the name that I've already said 5 times in this video. And I'm like, man, that looked kind of interesting. Come to find out, it's the same dudes, or some of the same dudes anyway, that work on it. But the fact that just from the gameplay, in a trailer, not even like full gameplay release, just gameplay trailer, I could see that it was similar to Burnout, got me more excited. Because that was a lot of fun back in the day, just ramming dudes. Not trying to play Gran Turismo for, you know, the most realistic looking. Bro, I'm trying to ram dudes off the road and see them explode, dude. You know, it's kind of like playing baseball games or playing Slugfest. If you're old enough to know, you know. You just want to beat the fuck out of dudes. And baseball's involved, but, you know, you're choosing the violent life, you know. Same with racing games for me. So I had, like, zero interest in that, but seeing that Burnout was in there, I'm probably actually going to pick that game up. And I just hope it's good. Burnout, Star Wars universe, I'm down to fuck around and find out with it. Hopefully it's not too expensive. I haven't looked into all that stuff, but you had me at Burnout. Honestly, I kind of wish I could go play Burnout 3. I had so much fun on those games back in the day. Even just me and my friend playing, oh, I was gonna say, is that an enemy tank? There's no name, but it's a clone tank. We had so much fun playing that, just split screen back in the day, ramming each other. Some of my best gaming memories were back when we were just playing split screen on Burnout 3 and Burnout Revenge, I believe it was called. So much fun. So hearing that they're working on Star Wars, again, it is just a pod racing game. It ain't gonna be replacing Battlefront anytime soon. But it got me more interested in it. So there's some positive news on the Star Wars front. That's the only reason it's positive, is because it looked like Burnout. That's the only reason I would even consider picking up that game. But you had me at Burnout. So I'm like, alright, I'll fuck around and find out. And again, even if they just said they were working, like, Burnout dudes were working on this game, I wouldn't get that excited. But before I even knew that, just watching the little bit of gameplay, I could see that it looked like Burnout. That was my first thought when I watched the gameplay. I'm like, that looks very similar to Burnout. You know, like, it wasn't just them saying, like, oh, they worked on it, but it's really not going to be anything like it. Like, you could see the telltale signs. I'm like, ooh, now you're speaking my language. I'm still rolling good shot, but, you know, you got to take it where you can get it with this game. You got to take it where you can get it. Do we have any heroes? We do not. So hopefully that game comes out soon, because I'm down to fuck around on it. But I haven't played a racing game in years. Probably since, like, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I think it was 2. So I'll be crashing more than I'd be killing them. Let's put it that way. But it's only one way to find out. Maybe we get to play some MOBA. I have looked into nothing other than that game. I don't even know if any of those dudes are in there, or it's they actually have a story and you're a pod racing dude coming up on the circuit or something. No clue. All I know is I'm going to be ramming the fuck out of some pod racers and killing dudes. I hope. I mean, technically they don't die, I'm sure, you know, wink wink. But you know what I mean. We're going to be ramming dudes. That sounds gay as fuck, but it's not what I mean, YouTube. That's not what I mean. Not that I'm saying there's a problem with that. I'm just saying, calm the fuck down. We're going to be ramming the fuck out of some dudes is all I'm saying. And hopefully it looks really good. Hopefully, I mean, Burnout 3 back in the day looked pretty good, but now it's probably dated. So I would like, it would be nice to see, even though it's going to be Star Wars, it would be nice to see an updated Burnout game. That would be awesome, because I didn't really like Paradise. That was an open world racing game, which, bro, that alone on paper sounds retarded, I'm going to be honest, and it was. I did not like that game at all. So I'm very glad they're not going down that road necessarily, so like, I'm glad we left that back in 2009 or whenever the fuck that shit came out. Let's leave that concept in the dust. Let's just get back to ramming dudes, because that's ultimately what we need to do. We just need to ram some dudes. So, other than that, I ain't got no good news on Star Wars. I wish I had good news about this game, but yeah, DICE is fucking, yeah. For those of you who don't follow Battlefield, but followed what happened with Battlefront, well, let's put it this way. Very, very off. Again, we'll use that word. Eerily similar things are happening in Battlefield 6 that happened on this game. Where they're basically, each update is making the game worse. The gameplay is messed up. It already feels like they have a skeleton crew working on the game. They don't say they do, but it really has this same vibe as Battlefront when they all started leaving and there was just this very small team working on it, where they started doing updates so they could look like they were adding new content, but in actuality they're moving content from one game mode to another, and like whether it's a galactic assault map to supremacy, and they didn't even change anything, they just threw it in the game mode so it could look like there's new maps. Ewoks, going from Ewok hunt to randomly they're a reinforcement of the game, and look, it's new, but in reality the asset was already made, so it was just a way for a small team to be able to do stuff. I'm getting that vibe with Battlefield already, where they're like, we don't got enough money, bro. Like, your game just sold a shit ton of money at launch, and you've already lost a huge amount of the players. And frankly, they're showing no signs of fixing it, so. Sadly, for the people like me who have been through this game from beginning to end, we're seeing all the warning signs. And frankly, it's happening quicker there than it did on here. Battlefront at least went a couple years where we had some good stuff, and then, you know, ultimately turned out to be the pile of shit it is today. But Battlefield is doing it at a much faster rate, which is not a good thing. They could still salvage it though, but I feel like we say that all the time when we talk about, not even just DICE, any gaming company, like, oh, don't worry, just be patient, bro. Just be patient, bro. I've been being patient for 15 years. Where the fuck are all the good games at, bro? Shit, dude, we're still waiting for good open world Star Wars games. They're like, nah, just be patient. Just be patient. Like, dude. Anyway, can we get a hero? Any heroes? No heroes. Let's be a jump trooper. We got Theo Vaughn in here? Or the Vaughn? Never mind. He'd probably be fun to stream with. Things he would say would be far worse than what I say. He'd talk about fucking dudes shooting. Probably a lot more graphic. And he got a better accent. Man, these dashes are... Bro, look at all you! And he hit me too when we already went down behind the hill. But why are they... Dude, you guys are like, we don't play Battlefield? Yeah, that's not Star Wars. Y'all play the exact same. You fucking suck, and you sit in your spawn. And don't get flagged. Literally, same shit, just without Star Wars skin. That's it. This gameplay the damn same. Literally, all my Battlefield people can back me up on that. Like, these dudes are just sitting in the back of their spawn sniping. It's like, whatever. Who needs to go for flags or anything? Well, frankly, back on that, oh, we could have tried to get a hero, but anyway. On the topic of like DICE doing eerily similar things to BF6 that they did on here, you could actually go back, and we talked about it a lot when this game was first doing it, and how it definitely started catering towards the casuals as the game went on, and like the updates they were doing, and Supremacy being a prime example of it. So many of you guys, when that mode came out, were like, oh my god, Supremacy, and you didn't even know you were fighting bots. I had so many dudes back in the day be like, oh my god, there's bots in there? And like, y'all weren't kidding. Like, you were actually serious about it. And it's just a way to make casuals feel good. You're getting more kills now. You know, Galactic Assault doesn't have that. And we were like, man, this is not good. You shouldn't be doing that in a game like that, especially a multiplayer shooter. There's times you can have bots in games, obviously, but for multiplayer shooting, it's just a way to try to make casuals happier. And you got to be careful doing that, because the game ultimately goes down a dark path when you start just focusing on that type of stuff and not actually building a good game and a good solid platform to work from. And they're doing the exact same shit on BF6. You got bots everywhere. At least in this game, we can change regions with this, not a server browser, but, you know, you're in the menu, you can change regions. You can't even do that in Battlefield. Like, they're just, DICE is making games and losing things we had from the past. Like, for example, with BF6, or with Battlefield in general, we used to get like 4 maps to update. You know, a DLC comes out, now we got 1, and don't worry, another one's coming down the line. Like, so we're paying this, well, a little more for games now, but now we're not paying like a premium or like a full season pass, but we're getting less content. For example, Battlefield had server browser. This game has a way to change regions without a server browser. And did we get that in the next Battlefield? No, we didn't. But we keep getting them breaking shit, and we're getting worse products with less of the stuff in there that was what helped make the previous games better, and they're just not giving us anything. But yet they're claiming to be overworked, and they're claiming, you know, all these different companies, or we don't have enough resources, we don't have enough people working on it. I'm like, how the fuck did y'all do it back in the day when you were giving us way more and games work better than what we're doing now? So for like, it's just, for all the people like, man, I wish we had Battlefront 3. Frankly, to be honest, if DICE had made it, it wouldn't have came out good. It might have had a good launch, just like Battlefield 6, but they would very quickly fuck it up. That's the sad reality of the situation, so. I know it's not happening, we ain't got much to talk about on this fucking dead franchise, but even had they went and made Battlefront 3 instead of the other Battlefields, don't get too excited, because DICE is proving they're going down a rabbit hole of we ain't getting shit, but we're gonna keep charging the same shit, and then we're gonna play the same fucking cards every time we make a problem. And just be patient, we hear you. They love saying that shit to act like they're listening to people. We hear you. And it's like, but the game's still broke. Just today, Battlefield put out an update, and it literally didn't address any of the big problems we had. It was just the most minute, little, boring things that have nothing to do with any of the problems. Like, for example, like latency on this game, you hit with a lightsaber from a mile away. Instead of working on that, they're like, we made it so that one time you use the jetpack and only one of the engines make noise instead of 2. Now you can hear both thrusters make a noise. It's like, dude, like that is so not what we need fixed. Like, there's plenty of bigger fish we should be going after. But they're like, no, we did this, but it really, it just feels like they want to do as much quick, easy fixes as they can, so they can put a bunch of bullet points and be like, look, we fixed all this in this patch, and they have plenty of bullet points, but it's all stuff nobody cares about. Like, nobody's asking for all the shit we need to get addressed, they don't address, and they did that in this game. Or they just try to cover up what they addressed, but and pretend to fix it, where in actuality they didn't. Prime example with this game was, most of you probably don't even remember, y'all are probably some of those young bloods just coming into this game, but at launch, when you would hit a dude with a lightsaber and he was blocking, it would knock you back and stun you a little bit. And one of the problems with that was when people would get knocked down, like with a force push or something, you would have a dude on the ground. You would see Luke, for example, laying on the ground, and yet he would block and you would get knocked back while he's laying down. It's stupid. You can't block when you're down. That's the whole point of getting knocked down. It opens you up to get hit. But instead of fixing that, they just took out the knockback. So they're like, look, you can't get hit. But how many times do you hit a dude and the swing doesn't register because he's laying on the ground? It's the same shit. They didn't fix it. They just tried to cover it up so you wouldn't see that it was there. Where with a knockback, it made it blatantly obvious that there was a problem. So they just tried to cover it up. And they've done stuff like that with some of the Battlefield updates as well, where you might have different employees working at DICE now. Like, not all the Battlefront devs went over and stayed with the company, right, that are working on BF6, but the company philosophy is still shining through brightly, unfortunately. So it's just like, for all those who are like, man, I wish they stayed on BF3, I mean, honestly, I wish they did too, because let's face it, I have way more money because nobody watches Battlefield, but at the end of the day, the game wouldn't have been a particularly strong one, unfortunately. Might have some good visuals, no fucking doubt on that. It would look good, but you're probably hoping like, man, we could have the game go on forever. So many content things we could do with all the different regions and eras and, you know, all the different planets and characters, the vast amount of characters in Star Wars. You wouldn't get that. They made it obvious with this game. They made it obvious with Battlefield. On a smaller scale, obviously, because Battlefield doesn't have as much, you know, planets to deal with. It's just, they wouldn't be giving us that. They've made it blatantly clear. They'll say all the right things. We're here, we listen to you. We're doing all the tests with the community so it comes out good. And then they ignore what the players who actually play the game say. Like, for example, with server browser, we've been screaming for that. So Battlefront only players might not know what a server browser is. Battlefield doesn't have, or Battlefront doesn't have one. But let's just put it, we need that in Battlefield. And they didn't give us one, even though we were all screaming the whole time they were doing tests before the game even came out, years in advance. Y'all, you're gonna need that. And they never gave it to us. And they're just ignoring the conversation. Like, we never, when literally everybody to this day is saying we need one, and they just ignored it. But then whenever there's an update, they'll come out, we took all your feedback to heart and we listened. We're here for you. You know, it's the most political bullshit out there, just trying to suck up to you. Wow, I'm literally behind you, sir, but okay. Like, it's just... Yeah, DICE is failing, man. That's all I can say. It's unfortunate because they made two of my favorite franchises of all time, or worked on, Battlefront and Battlefield, and they are, they're shitting the bed, let's put it that way. That's the nicest way I could put it. So yeah, Battlefront 3. Yeah, it's probably not going to be that. Probably won't happen at all, but as much as it pains me, I wish DICE could right the ship. I wish they could figure this shit out, but we thought they were on the right track with the amazing launch they had. No ifs, ands, or buts. The launch was fucking dope. And now they seem completely focused on fucking it all up. Even if Battlefront came out good, we avoided the controversy like BF2 had when it launched. Yeah. That would be it, bro. It would still go down the drain for whatever reason. The same thing where we're like, man, you know how many characters would be so cool in this game? Dude, there's so many awesome characters we could add. You know who you're getting? BB-8 and BB-9, because the higher up said we need characters from the new trilogy. They would do moves like that where there's no content really to be made there. And yet they focus on that instead of the many different options where they could go down that road and have a way better DLC. They choose to do the corporate side thing where we need to sell more plushies, so we need to get BB-8 and BB-9 in here. And it's like, do you know how many more cooler heroes there would have been? And that you could pair up with even better maps? And they just... The same shit is happening in Battlefield, let's put it that way. It's not Star Wars, but the same philosophy is unfortunately still there. So. Yeah, anyway, bearer of bad news. At least we get the Burnout racing game. There's a positive. I'm excited for that. Thank God DICE doesn't have their hands in it. Not that I know of. This is where somebody's like, hey, Ninja, actually. I'm like, oh, fuck. Maybe I won't buy the game after all. Maybe I'll skip it in. But at least we brought a positive bit of news. I like Burnout. Y'all should watch some Burnout footage if you haven't. I know some of y'all, some young bloods up in here, you don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, those were the racing games back in the day, man. Woo! So much fucking fun. I'm surprised that swing didn't hit me. That one did, though. Yeah, that was some bullshit right there, I'll tell you that much. Do as much damage before we leave. Shoot the Tesla plug so they can't charge the tanks. We're gonna go back down. Come on, we lost. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna just end it here. I didn't really plan on recording a video tonight. That was not the plan. But anyway, there will be more Battlefront videos. We've just been really busy of late. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just a rant video, pretty much. We didn't really bring much to the party. But sorry if you can hear the kids screaming in the background. Frankly, my mic audio might be messed up. This new way we're doing it, like if noise canceling is not on, hopefully I'm not too loud. Hopefully, you know, but apologies if it's bad. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.